I wanted to bring up that last trade I took on the SPY. And the main reason why I said it was risky AF is because this market is definitely crazy to the upside. Who cares about, all the macro stuff? We just want to go up. Nvidia's up. And plus, we were trading above the key moving averages uh, on things. So it was risky, but what we had here was a little bit of a breakdown on structure. The 21 crossing down below the 50. And during that time, I also had a cross down on the oscillator as well as a negative thrust signal here. So that triggered me in, and we went a little bit sideways, and we caught this really fantastic flush. I mean, it was 138% from 42 cents all the way up to $1. I think they even went all the way up to $2 and some change. So it was absolutely mind-boggling. So I snuck out early. I probably could have held on to it for a little more just to milk it out, but I was happy with it. It's been a good Friday, so no sense on trying to get into, trying to get caught off sides, I guess. But yeah, and then we also broke below VWAP here, and then the 5-minute chart decided to go with it, which was nice. And even still here on the 5-minute, you got that same little crossover action. And you got the thrust signals down. So if this wants to continue on down, it certainly can. Your next really thing to kind of pay attention to is the 5-minute 200. But other than that, I mean, it was a fantastic trade. I'm kind of happy that I caught that while she was doing it. So, but all right. As always, if y'all have any questions, any ticker requests, feel free to shout them out. If you're new to what we do here in the afternoon, is basically we're getting ready for next week. So we're going to take a look at the broader markets, the sectors, and all that kind of fun stuff. But like I said, if you're looking for any kind of setups, feel free to reach out and we'll take a look at it. Honestly, we've seen all the data that's come out as far as the inflation stuff goes, and it's been negative. The data has been bad. We had CPI that came in a little bit heavier than expected. We had PPI today and core PPI, which was just abysmal, if you think about it. That was all bad. Jobless claims continue to be strong, and retail sales came in weak. So there's definitely some macro stuff going on, but this market, it just does not care. You got all the semiconductors are moving higher. Nvidia is still hanging out at 740. I know SMCI got smacked in the chin today. Finally, some profit taking on that name. I mean, Jesus, that thing has just absolutely been crazy. Yeah, we'll take a look at Tesla, Braden, and General Dynamics. Interesting. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at those two. Yeah, this market, we had the nice little dip on the CPI day. We hit the 21 EMA, hit them here. Every time we come down to the 21 EMA, we've bounced aggressively higher. So the trend is definitely extremely bullish. No doubt about that. There is some waning momentum on the squeeze indicator, but this is like a bird in flight. Once you get this momentum going and you get this trend just moving, you got the thrust taking you off, and now once you've engaged that trend, like the best thing I can compare it to is it's just a bird in flight, and this thing is just absolutely flown to the upside. And even still, you still have analysts calling for SPX to go to 5,400 by the end of the year, which is pretty wild. You do have a bear flag here on the ES and on the SPY if you want to take a look at that. If that breaks down, that could be interesting. So SPY, I think what the market, and we've got OPEX going on right now, so options expiration is happening right now today. You get some of that rollover and readjustments going into the next month. So I'm thinking because we have OPEX getting out of the way, and I think really the main thing that we're waiting for is Nvidia earnings. And we have Nvidia earnings here on Wednesday after the bell. Now, Monday is a holiday, nothing really going on here. But Wednesday after close, all eyes are going to be on Nvidia, and that should be like written down somewhere near your desk or however. Put an alert on, hey, Nvidia earnings after the bell. Could send shockwaves. Maybe we get a huge bump like SMCI. Maybe we sell off and get some profit taking. Who knows? I mean, this is going to be some big stuff here for the market. So all eyes are going to be on Nvidia, and you got some interesting ones. As of this week, we've had some interesting earnings and a large amount of earnings, but nothing market moving. Nvidia is going to be pretty much the main component coming in next week, so you definitely want to pay attention to that. And then as far as the economic calendar goes, we got not too much, but we do have the FOMC minutes on was that Wednesday at 2:00. This is going to be the minutes from the prior meeting. There is no Powell. It's just the minutes, and we got a few Fed speakers. We got our jobless claims on Thursday. That's the weekly numbers, and we also have the S&P Global Services PMI, and I believe we have some housing data next week. So it's going to be quiet Monday, obviously, because the market's closed. Tuesday should be a little bit quiet as well. Wednesday, we got the minutes. Let's see, what did we have? I thought we had... Did I miss it? Crude oil. Oh, yeah, home sales. There it is, at 10 o'clock on Thursday to go along with the jobless claim. So Thursday could be a pretty interesting day. Wednesday is definitely going to be... should be interesting. All the Fed members, they've basically been saying the same dang thing. Be patient with the rates. Don't expect rate cuts anytime soon. The market is slowly adjusting to that notion. But anyway, market, who cares what the Fed speakers say? We got Nvidia earnings next week. I think that's going to be the key catalyst, in my opinion. So I do want to kind of go around and see if there's any kind of red flags out there. See if there's anything that should be saying, hey, be careful here. Which honestly, it's tricky to buy at these levels. I mean, I think the valuations are high, obviously, but if this market wants to go higher, just because it's overbought, that's actually okay. It can continue to stay overbought and up we go. Now I have this level at 429.85 on the Qs. This has been a level I've marked. This was the prior high before we broke out, came and retested it on CPI day. Now we're back at it, and it looks like we just kind of turned sideways a little bit. We can see that the 21 EMA is starting to flatten out just a little bit. 50, of course, is still rising, as well as the 200. So in all things considered, the Qs are still pretty darn bullish still. Thought I had my other chart. That's okay. So if we happen to break down below the 21 EMA, that could signal that things are done, because every time we've come down to it, we seem to use that as our bouncy table. And bouncy table? What's a bouncy table? And then we just push on higher. But we do have a little bit of a lower high there for now. And then, if I look at the weekly chart, I mean, we've had this weekly squeeze. This is fired long, and it's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles of the squeeze firing long. So this is pretty much run its course, but we don't have the dark blue bars here. If we get a dark blue bar in 2 consecutive at least, we know that the squeeze is done for sure. And then we just wait for the next squeeze to occur, and we can pay attention to what may happen there. This thing has yet to break. I don't think it broke the weekly lows, or at least have a close below. Yeah, no. We haven't closed below the low of the high bar. So unless we get that, I mean, geez, this thing just keeps on cooking. I mean, what we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 out of 16 weeks of just straight up green without much of a pullback. I mean, that's pretty wild. So all right, so there's the cues. You do have resistance at about this 435 mark. Break above 435, then you're looking at the all-time high again, and then I still have this target up here at 445. We'll see. I mean, if Nvidia crushes earnings, yeah, I mean, if Nvidia really posts up some crazy numbers, then sure, why not? We can visit 445. And they need to post some good numbers plus post up some crazy guidance again. So we'll see. It'll be 3 or 4 quarters in a row for Nvidia to absolutely send it. So we'll see. Small caps, of course, are more sensitive to the rates, but you know, they're hanging in there. You know, we had this nice little breakout, and we did a swing trade on this last week and paid off on Monday. Inside day today for the IWM, couldn't quite get up to 205. We slipping? Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like that bear flags might be trying to play out here on the ES. Let's see. There's your flag there. See if that pulls. All right. I'm not going to play that though. I'm just going to do this. All right. So IWM's okay, which is surprising. IWM's just getting dragged up by the Qs, but you know, reels have been okay. We hit 4.3 again. To me, I think this thing can probably go higher, especially if this thrust signal turns this into trend, then look out, because rates can continue to climb here. And if rates continue to climb, that's going to be a pretty darn, it should act as a strong headwind for the market. So we'll see. Let's go see what the dollar is up to. And we can actually see here too. Let me just go ahead and mention this. You have a little mini squeeze firing long now at this point in time, and the weekly is holding on to the weekly 50. So off it goes. Let's go check out the dollar. I think the dollar's just been chilling out for the most part. Yeah, we got neutral trend here, so we're sideways. Boom. You're entering into a new squeeze. You do have thrust. Trend is trying to establish something, but it's very neutral here. We still have that inverse head and shoulder look to it, in my opinion. We just got to break above this neck band here and get above, have a close above 105. You had a poke above, but then you came back down because there's no fear in this market. So if this gets to going, also look out. So it's kind of like we're at a sit and wait mode from what it looks like. Let me go check out the VIX. VIX is still in like the world's longest squeeze, and it does this especially when you are in a crazy bull market. But we are still holding this trend here, nothing too crazy. And look at that. I mean, we had this huge spike on that CPI day all the way up to 18, came back, closed down below 16. Now we're back below 14, which is wild, but welcome to the VIX. This does want to create something. We still don't have an upward thrust arrow here, so no dice, which is amazing, because after this move you would have thought that we would have had an arrow being given here, but we didn't, and so we came back down. Still want to keep an eye on this. I'd say still put an alert here on the daily 200 at about 15. Watch that 15 mark, because that's when things definitely get juicy. Let me go look at the VXX, excuse me, the VIX. All right. It's not I think that's, oh, I'm missing the I. I'm done. All right, the volatility of volatility. Hello. Yeah, this is the chart I want. Yeah, look at that. You had that huge spike above 90, and this is the area that we want to continue to pay attention. We had that daily close above it, and then we got smacked down again. So I still believe that this is the crucial bull bear zone here. And as long as we trade below, there's nothing to really be worried about. But if we spike back above this 90 mark, yeah, then I would definitely be concerned, and you start to maybe hedge a little bit, zoom in on your time frames, smaller trades. All right, so maybe some cautionary things here, especially going into next week, especially with Nvidia earnings. I think that's pretty much what the market's mainly. I don't think the market's going to care too much for some of the data that comes out, especially the FOMC minutes. I think there shouldn't be any kind of surprises there. I think FOMC minutes is probably going to be a non-event. And we might just kind of have to wait until the PCE comes in. Now, the interesting thing about the inflation data is that, yeah, it signals some negative stuff, but if we see the next print, CPI and PPI, if they come in hot again on the next reading, that could definitely be alarming, because that means it's really bad out there. All right, you're getting a little bit of that. Here's that bear flag on the ES. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, that looks pretty gross here. If it wants to have a leg lower, show me them legs. Let's see if it'll break down. I guess that's the question here. Will it or will it not do something? Okay, so y'all asked about some individual names, so let's go ahead and take a look at them, and then we'll take a look at some of the sectors. We could really technically end it right there, the session, because honestly, what else is there other than Nvidia at this point? Tesla has had a fantastic move all the way back up to 200. I think it's still a little messy, in my opinion. We came all the way, we broke below the key moving averages here. See all that? That's when we became really bearish. You had the cross down here as well as the thrust signals, and since then we've just been treading down. Elon is buying up shares or whatever that filing was. So you got this gap here at about 210. So you got a little bit more wiggle room to fill this gap, but because we're still below the key moving averages, it's still a bearish environment. EVs, we've seen some pretty interesting earnings from General Motors and Ford. So it seems like the nice little honey spot is hybrids. So we'll see. But as far as the technicals go, I don't see anything that really screams at me. I mean, we have a 30-minute squeeze if you want to look at that. The hourly isn't really setting up for anything. Let me check the hourly though. I'm going to pull up the hourly. Ooh, you got a pinch here. See this moving average pinch? It's tight. Tight, my friend. Squeeze is not quite there yet. No trend. We do have thrust back here, so it could just be a matter of time. If this thing pops to the upside, yeah, definitely it's a buy. If it goes to the downside, just be careful, because it could continue to sell off, because the main environment is bearish. You do have some shorter time frame bullishness, of course, because we have that daily you have a little bit of bullishness to it. I wouldn't say it's full-fledged, but it's because you've reclaimed what is this? This is the 8 EMA, I do believe. Yeah, that's the 8 EMA. Should know my colors right. You've crossed back above the 8 EMA, but you don't have a crossover of these just yet, and you're still below the 50, and you're still below the 200, so it's a little bit wonky. Trend is still bearish, and you still have daily thrust, but if the hourly does decide to pop off, sure, run it to the upside, at least to the gap fill, and then to the daily 50 at about 220. 220 target to the upside, and if we break down on that hourly, then my target is going to be... I'd go with the hourly 50 here at 191, and then again back at support at about 182 and 175. So that's going to be your support zone down here. And then ultimately, if things really crash and burn for Tesla, you're going back here to the lows at about 125 or so. It's getting interesting for Tesla right here. You could, it's probably too early to sell puts on it. Maybe wait to see where this wants to break out, and then go from there. All right. What was the other one? General Dynamics. That's an interesting one to look at. GD. Yeah. No. Let's see here. All right, we're gonna. Let's see. There's that. In a little bit of a box here. It's a very wide box. All right. So what is that? 260. Why am I doing it like that? Let me draw my levels here. General Dynamics. Definitely a quiet name. You don't really talk about this one too much. Come on. Let's see. Where do I want to put this level? Yeah, it's kind of a zone, so we'll put it that level there and that level here. Okay, so about 263, 262. Okay, so it's not that much. 262 and 271. So it's about an 8-point move here. So if it does want to break out, we'll just bring out the low to the high. Upside targets 276 to 279. That would be T1, P1, P2, 276 and 279 respectively. But for now, you're still just kind of in the box. Kind of in the box for now. Yeah. Looks interesting. Just wait for that breakout. Wait for that breakout above 271.37. And ideally, you want a close above this level too. And let me come over here too with JP Morgan. Since we took that one. Daily. Yeah, we've recovered a good bit today, which is nice. So we had that nice little breakout yesterday. Inside day today, which is typical. The only thing I don't want to see is for JP Morgan, I don't really want to see this crack and close back below this 176 area. That puts us back in the range. And usually if you get these false breakout moves, you have a very terrible time. So we don't want to see that. We want to see this continue to climb up, and my target is 184, close to 185 there is what I'm looking for JP Morgan to the upside. So that looks pretty good. All right, let's take a look at individual sectors. Let's see. Let me detach you, and let me see here. Let me come over to way up. Let's do it like this, kind of like what we did last week, which last week I didn't. Oh man, I'm hungry again. I ate lunch. I guess it wasn't enough. All right, XLB and the builders. This has been an interesting little situation for the XLB. Let me pull that up. XLB. Just so you can see, we're in this broader range Darvas box between 86 and 75. If the XLB does want to break out, great. Should be interesting with everything going on next week. You've had names like Lin breakout. Let's see. FCX not doing ECL Ecolab. That one's interesting. Nucor, that was pretty cool. Dow, that's boring. These are all kind of boring names, so it is what it is. Okay, so XLB is interesting. I don't really care for any of these names, though. Let's go to the XLC sector, which contains Meta and Google and Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, this has been a nice little move. Netflix and chill with no chill. Netflix does not have chill. All right, let's zoom in here. All right, so here's your earnings gap. And now you have a nice little breakout here on the earnings gap. and off you go. You hit a high of almost 600 there. A little bit of a pullback day, but nonetheless, bullish move altogether. I didn't catch this breakout move, which is unfortunate. So I have to wait for it to come down just a little bit more and see what happens. All right, let's see what's else is out here. Google. Someone brought up Google, asked me about Google puts, and honestly, I like them. I'm tempted to possibly swing that, especially if we have a daily close below the daily 50 SMA. We can see here that trend has now become neutral, and we have a new bearish thrust signal in here. Thrust can give us flight, and now we just wait for this to break down. If we do lose the daily 50, usually nothing really good kind of happens, and you also have this double top on the weekly. Oh look, it's a heart for Valentine's Day. How cute. Clip it. So if Google does happen to break down and we get some follow through next week, then yeah, you are going to go down to at least the 135, even to the 131, 132 zone for Google. All right, so I definitely like the looks of Google there for some downside action. Let's see, who else do we have here? We got T-Mobile, Verizon, boring, right? Netflix is not boring. T-Mobile, ooh, okay, got a little bit of a breakdown. Disney, we haven't looked at Disney in a while. What was that one I was looking at? T-Mobile, let me bring that one up. I know it's boring, but you got this little bit of a Darvas box breakdown, possibly. Same thing here. 166, 160. So it's a 5-point move here that you're looking for. 5-point, 6-point. You're holding on to this support here and the daily 50. If this thing breaks down, we are going to be looking at a move pretty much down here to about 154, which is the next support. So that's funny how that works. So yeah, I like T-Mobile for a possible downside move if things get juicy. And Disney was another one I wanted to look at on this one. I can show you the world. Disney has had its fun since its last earnings. They also brought back their dividend. Hooray. Finally. This thing that does make Disney a little bit more enticing, because remember they took away their dividend back in COVID and they finally just increasing it. So that's sweet. All right. Disney, no, I'm not touching that one. Yeah, you're at +4 ATR on the weekly, and I don't see any need to really go. John says Wally World. Wally World, they do have earnings on Tuesday morning. So remember, the market's closed on Monday, so if you have any skin in the game there. Yeah, and we also saw that retail sales number was not particularly well, but they're doing that interesting 3-for-1 split. It's like they're taking a chapter out of the GE book. They want their stock to look more appetizing at a lower price. So 170 divided by 3. Someone do the math. 3, 5, so 50 something there. 50 something points. My brain doesn't want to brain today. Yeah, breakout into new lifetime highs on Walmart, which is incredible. I'll have to go call my brother and poke fun at him because I think he sold his Walmart shares. So there's that. Yeah, you got earnings on Tuesday. Should be interesting, especially from the retail aspect, and Dollar General too. This one's been interesting, and I actually got an alert on this, and I looked at this earlier this morning. It's got this nice long mature squeeze here. You got the crossover and you got thrust, but you're right at a key resistance point, and that's the dynamic 200 simple moving average. If Walmart has good positive earnings, that could help bolster this, and you're looking at a move towards gap fill at about 152, give or take. So yeah, could be interesting there for Dollar General. I don't think I'm going to take a position in it though. If I do, it's going to be something really kind of tiny. Let's see, did ES ever do anything? Not really. All right, so there's that. Let's see, who else do we got in here? Match. Take two. Giello, some caution there. Okay, let's go to the next one. Energy sector. We didn't take a look at crude oil, so I want to take a look at crude oil. Way up, way up. And y'all notice that I do the same thing here. I have my system and method that I do. I just go through the main indices, main sectors, main players, and see where things are at. I actually like crude oil here. I don't have an up signal though. I need an up arrow here. I need an up arrow, and I still need a little bit more of a crossover here to give us trend. But we do have a interesting squeeze happening right now. Let me see. I wonder if there's some good energy names we can take on, because that could be interesting. If we rotate out of tech, we could possibly get into something. And I like my guy here, MPC and PSX. MPC makes life easier when you look at these grids, and it takes like 10 minutes to set up all these grids on TOS. Let me go over here to MPC. I want to see what those are, because we traded MPC, what, a few, or was it, I think it was Marathon. No, it was PS. I can't remember. I'll have to take a look back. All right, that's down. We actually got a big reading here on Super Extreme on the weekly. I'm gonna come up here. Can I zoom out? Yeah, I can zoom out. Of course I can zoom out. It's a chart. I can tell it to do whatever it wants. Hold me, hold me, never let me. Market closed on Wednesday. It's crazy. Yeah. Hey, it's a long weekend. I get an extra day of recovery. Told my wife wanted to go golfing this weekend. She was like, "That's fine." I was like, "Sweet." She was like, "I'll just day drink," and I was like, "Okay, that works." You can day drink while I play golf. I don't care. All right, so MPC. Do I want something here? Let me go to the hourly. Oh, we got a 1 hour squeeze, a 2 hour squeeze, and a 4 hour squeeze. That's hot. That's not quite ready. All right, so I want to keep an eye on MPC next week for sure. I was wanting to see if I wanted to take a new position on it now, but I think I'm going to wait, because there's squeezes all over the place and things could get interesting here. All right, so MPC is going to be on my short list for next week. Let me check out PSX and probably VLO. No, not VLO. Not EOG, Schlumberger, ZOM. That one could be interesting. I'll take a look at ZOM too. Phillips 66. No, I don't like that one. Let me go check out ZOM. No, and Oxy's not doing anything either, because Warren Buffett's in it, and they're not going to let it die, but it's like they're also not going to let it break out. So until we break out above 60, 68, I don't see nothing to really do here. Yeah. So we'll let Oxy do its thing. Good for shares. Get that dividend and go hang out with Uncle Buffett. It's all good. All right, so that's XLE. Interesting. MPC definitely there. Financial sector, we're already in JP Morgan. We'll see what else is out there. Way up. Bert B continues to be impressive. JP Morgan, you see all these green lights here. Look at all the green. A lot of the sectors you see like a lot of yellows and reds. So I like the financials for sure. Citigroup. Schwab ain't doing nothing. Goldman scares me for some reason. Wells Fargo had a fantastic move yesterday. Let me go over there. I think someone caught Wells that pop on Wells Fargo, and it's interesting. I ran a scan, and I remember looking at it. I was like, okay, that's interesting, and it was in a very nice squeeze, and it. I was like, well, I don't really trade Wells Fargo, so I walked away from it. And then I peeked at it again when someone said it in a chat, and I said, holy crap, definitely didn't take advantage of that. All right, so Wells Fargo. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. As long as you don't pull back below the daily 50, 49. So probably good for shares. If you're going to do options with Wells Fargo, I like in the money and further dated just to take advantage of any kind of the delta moves. But inside day here, I think it looks good. Citigroup is fine. Morgan Stanley hasn't been doing anything at all. BlackRock is good. Bank of America needs to get above 35. Burt B is at 406 now, which is amazing. Burt B's been probably one of my favorite plays, like for about 2 years, and this thing just keeps on trucking along. Let's see. All right, so there's Burt B. How am I just thought about this since I thought about Burt shares, my Dick shares. Oh yeah, I'm good, baby. Don't have to do anything with that. Just gonna keep holding my dicks. All right, so back to that. Name the most recent dead president without Googling it. Reagan? Oh, Bush. Yeah. All right, let's go take a look at industrials. All right, industrials, of course, have been pretty powerful. UNP looks good. CSX looks good. Yeah, George W. is the sun there. Boeing. I'm still waiting for Boeing to crack some more. Let's go check that one out. No sense in doing anything with Boeing because it's still in a box. It is still in this box between 217 and 200. So got a nice little daily squeeze, and trend is bearish here. There you go. There's trend, bearish thrust. Now you do have an up arrow here, but because this blue line is below where this was, that negates that. So now we just look for a new signal there. But nice little squeeze. If it does break down below 199.50, yeah, I'm all for it. Throw some puts on the airplanes. All right, so that's the only one I care about here. I hope this stuff helps. This makes homework a lot easier when we do this. Whoops. One. And then it makes knowing what is going on in the broader market for next week. So it makes life easier. It makes my life easier. Hopefully it gives y'all a good way. And it only takes, like, if I was just doing this by myself, it would take me like probably 30 minutes to go through it all. So if you want to start trying to do this by yourself, challenge yourself to kind of go in on the weekend or something like that and see what is out there. Ooh, look at Adobe. What's going on? That is an ugly breakdown on Adobe. Ooh, there goes the ES bear flag break. Look at that. Finally. Yum. Nice. Nice breakdown on the ES. Yeah, Adobe did take a dump. Holy crap. And you're breaking below support here. 560. On good volume. Look at this volume today. Man, what's our next target? 530? Thrust down, trend down. Oh, that looks so good. What's going on with Apple? Like daily or intraday? Apple's fighting demons. They kind of are, to be honest with you. You're losing the daily 200 here. But look, I mean, last time we opened below it, Apple just said, buy the dip. Let me see. Let me zoom out. It's losing the daily 200, which doesn't really mean too much to Apple, but usually when it loses the 50, it does. See here, last time we lost the 50, had a nasty move, you lost it again, had a nasty move, lost it again, had a nasty move. We're just kind of wedged here. Ooh, that could be an inverse. Look at that. You can break this neckline. 180. 180 is a big level for Apple. We held this so good. So even though we've lost the daily 200, I'll still keep my level here at 180. If you start to lose 180 and close below it, then look out below. Look out below because your next support isn't down until about 165. Looks gross to me. Yonk. Yonk. I like it. I like the idea. We just need the signal. Look at ES just pooping right now. Poop away. Poop away. Pull back so we can get things cheaper and we can get some new setups. And that's been a key problem lately, is everything's been pushing so heavy, so fast, that all the setups have like disappeared. We need some really good actionable setups. So especially on the swing aspect. But I like, if we want to dip, that's cool. I like this Adobe move, and yeah, I like an Apple to the downside. I like Google to the outside. Those are two big players here. Let's go check out Mr. Softy. NQ starting to lose a little bit of support there at 17. What is that? 17,760, 65. Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft could very well. You're entering a new squeeze on Microsoft. Ooh, baby. Ooh, look at that. The weekly, too. Man, we might get a close of the high bar. Close of the low of the high bar, excuse me. Was that 403 and some change there on the weekly? That'd be wild. And we're losing the 21 EMA. Naughty, naughty. I think there's some more red flags here. So Apple looks bad. Microsoft is starting to lose it. Nvidia has earnings next week. Amazon's had some trouble. And, well, I mean, they're kind of hanging in there. They're still hanging on to their earnings gap. Okay. AMD, of course. AMD's interesting. I think I saw someone talking about 180s for next week or so, which is fine. It makes sense. But we got to break above this 179, which you tried to get it, and you're into a new daily squeeze. Temps to plummet. How cold is it supposed to get? Damn. I know it's supposed to be like, I'll call it like a little throat tickle. Death to the Mag 7 next week. I wouldn't mind some rotation for sure. But that could also be very heavy for the market. So how does that work? So if we rotate out a Mag 7, can the rest of the market pull the weight up? I don't know. We'll see. 179, AMD's got to break above that. If not, it's just kind of sideways. You're in a daily squeeze here. Trend is extreme. You got a 1 hour. Let's go check that one out. Yeah, all eyes on Nvidia there for sure. Oh yeah, so that's going to make things tricky for AMD too. Way up, way up. Okay, so if we don't zoom in, there we go. If we break down on AMD, we got plenty of support down here. What's that, about the 165 mark? Yeah, I like the 165. You got the dynamic hourly 200 there at about 167 too. So if AMD does break down, that's where we want to go. We do have a squeeze here, but we have thrust down. This is trying to decide what it wants to do too, which is a different ball game than what we had right here. I'm being very meticulous with these now. This is very different. This pretty much puts a pause to that until we get a new signal to the upside, and we still need to break our level at 179 on AMD. So I'm not really looking to long right now on AMD either, especially with NVIDIA earnings. Broadcom looks fine. PayPal. Okay, I think that's enough of the tech because we already know what's going on there. We got to wait for NVIDIA earnings. Consumer staples. I'm not going to look at utilities. We'll take a look at XLP and we'll probably call it there, to be honest with you, because we already know what the drill is. How's Zoom and Zom? Zoom and Zom. Zoom, Zom. Yeah, we'll go back and look at Zoom and Zom. I briefly looked at Zom earlier, but we'll take a look at it. XLP, Procter & Gamble, Costco. Yeah, Costco's a safe name. Mondelez. Go buy your Oreos. Save Mondelez. Mondelez, however you want to pronounce it. Walmart has earnings on Tuesday. Okay. So nothing too spicy there. Healthcare could be an interesting. Let me look at healthcare, and I think that'll be it. And then we'll take a look at anything else y'all want to look at. Johnny John, UNH, Thermo Fisher, that one's an interesting one. Abbott. Hey, Abbott. AbbVie's been strong. Merck is also a good one. DHR. So I like Merck. Lilly's a powerhouse. Okay, so those are some interesting names. AbbVie, I would like a little. AbbVie, that's an all-time high for AbbVie. But it's a little stretched. Merck looks pretty good, but Merck's probably better for shares. So that's hourly. Let me put it back on the daily. Yeah, that's a good move on Merck. I need a pullback though. I mean, look, we're at like plus 4 or 5 ATR on the weekly. I mean, that's insane. All right, yeah, we looked at Zom earlier when we looked at crude oil, and it's just very sideways. You're starting to enter a new squeeze here, but trend is still bearish, and I need an arrow here on my signals. You need an arrow, and really you need to get above the daily 200 here. Once you get above that, then that looks a lot better, in my opinion. So get above 106, I think looks better. You could very well just try to break out of this trend at 104, break above 104, then you hit 106. Once you get above 106, it opens up the gate to about 110. So if this, then that. And then, of course, if you break down below 100, then that opens the gate to moves back down to 95 for Exxon Mobil. And, you know, crude oil, it looks interesting for sure, especially now that it's trying to break and hold above the daily 200 simple. You're in a squeeze, but we still need an arrow. We need thrust to engage. Once thrust engage, let the bird flap its wings and fly. And if that goes, then sure, some of these energy names can go. Zoom. Ah, yes, good old Zoom. It's got earnings. It is a private indicator for now. It is not released to the public. One day we'll get it out. You're playing the earnings run up. Looks like it's running down. Just saying. What are these earnings? 226. So what was that, next week? About a week and a half. So you got Monday off. There you go. Okay, so yeah, I like it better above 65. I don't know what to expect with Zoom earnings, to be honest with you. High of 588. It's now trading about the 60s. I got thrust down and neutral bear. It's neutral because this is grayed out, and then we are below the midline, so it's neutral bear, but it can easily become even more bearish. But of course, technical analysis gets thrown out the window when it comes to earnings. But you got a whole another week until earnings play out. So Zoom's probably going to run with the rest of the market, to be honest with you. And the fact that it hasn't really, the market has done this and Zoom is doing that, that's kind of a red flag to me. So I would definitely be cautious. Unless there's something in the fundamentals that you see from the technical standpoint, it's weak. But if there's something in the fundamentals that you've done research on, so be it. I'm not going to tell you yay or nay on that, because I care about fundamentals, but then again, I don't care. So I like the technical aspects of trading, not the fundamental side. Now, if you want a fundamental breakdown, then you can ask Chris or Curry, see what their inputs are as far as this goes. But to me, it looks pretty yucky from the technical standpoint, from the signals that I'm looking at right here. Yeah, do your research on that. If there's something that you like, that they may have something in the pipeline that I just don't know about. I don't know, but we'll see. I guess when they report earnings. That was a nice breakdown on the ES. I don't know if any of y'all played the downside on that. We'll go, and you could have done it through SPX. You could have done it through SPY too. So here you go. Here's that bear flag. I guess you could call it a wedge too, but it tried to break up, but you broke down. Confirmed it. Man, what a move. Cool. All right. So as far as next week goes, all eyes on NVIDIA. We've had some pretty crazy inflation data. We've had some hawkish comments from all the Fed speakers. Next week, we got FOMC minutes, and a few other things that could be market movers, but we'll see what happens. I mean, the NASDAQ looks a little bit weaker here than the S&Ps. The S&Ps are still hanging on at the highs, even though this drop does seem kind of bad. But I mean, the S&Ps are only down 0.5 percentage point. That's really nothing in retrospect. So compare that with the Qs. Qs maybe a little bit weaker. Yeah, just a little bit, not by much, but I mean, we're still hanging in there. I still, based upon the charts that we've looked at too, Google looks weak, Apple looks weak, Microsoft is getting there. I think there are some interesting red flags, so I still weigh to the side of caution, but still this market's bullish as crap. So we'll see what happens next week for sure. Be cautious. Continue to keep the day trades. If you're swing trading, keep them light. As far as my JP Morgan position, I still like it. I'm not heavy, just because things are really, really frothy, and I don't want to get caught with my pants down anyway. So this market is still ultimately bullish, but there are some cautionary signals out there. Nothing too hectic, just some interesting stuff. I just wouldn't ring in the bell there that the bulls are done. They're not. This thing can keep on going. Just because it's overbought doesn't mean it can't keep going on. But all right. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in there with me. I know it was a lot. But yeah, I challenge you to kind of do this as well. Start with the broader markets. Add in your peripherals like the VIX, crude oil yields, all that good stuff. Heck, throw in some currencies like the dollar and the yen. See where things are at. See what looks great, what could be considered a red flag, what doesn't look good, and start to break things down to your sectors and individual names like we just did. So it might take you an hour or two when you first start doing it, but as you progress and start to look at familiarities and get familiar with everything, y'all know what I meant. You can speed this up and make it faster for yourself, and it's a good way to really learn where things are going and where things are shaping up at. So it's a good way to approach the market, in my opinion. So I challenge you to find a system that works for you and do it like that. All right, cool beans. Y'all have a great, long, fun weekend. Go outside, get some vitamin D. Hopefully, it's supposed to be overcast this weekend for us, but I'm still going to go outside and enjoy it. All right, guys. I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys later on. Thanks, Maria. Have a good one. Thanks, Rather. Take care.